welcome back. This is another week, and I don't know, week 9 maybe. And so basically, by the title, another 9% week. So this is probably the second to best week we've had besides last week. And theoretically, I mean, it's the best week we've had with the portfolio 60/40 implemented, right? So the last time I had was around 5% with the 60/40. And what I mean by that is 60% non-leverage, 40% leverage. And, the 2 weeks ago, because we were down quite a bit, my idea was to, go into the 100% leverage so then we could recover there. And the leverage wasn't too risky, but it was, it could move around average 2 to 5% a days, right? So it was quite volatile on that. My idea was just to hold it and then see ending around -10, hopefully around there. But then the good thing was that on Monday we fell quite a bit, around 2%. So then we gained fell around 3% actually. So we gained around almost 10% that day. And then after that, it was Tuesday through Friday. I still went in 100% leverage, but that was, not with the same position as I was holding. And I just kept on doing the same thing. And really, that let us recover almost back to zero. And so now that I'm at zero, we're going back to 60/40. And so the idea is that, I did that this week, and this week was 9%. So you could theoretically say it's our best week with the 60/40. And so, before that was around 5%. So now we've gained almost double that in this week. So yeah, really good week, 9% up, and we're outperforming everything. We're securely outperforming everything right now. So that's really good. So here you have what I'm talking about. So the first week, right? So this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and this was the 100% leverage. And I transitioned. The rate, it still increased quite high, right? Low decreased a little, and then we had our first negative day, so breaking the 9-day streak, which was never seen before. 9-day streak I had never had. So you can see really we're actually on new all-time high, really, almost hitting that almost 10% on the percentage gain. Now overall money gain, it's around 9%, so it's a little than that. But I mean, same view here. Over here, you basically have last week. So last week was the 100% leverage thing, and so you can see really gained a lot that week, around 20 something percent. And so this week we also gained a lot, 9% with the non-leverage. If I would have gotten 100%, we'd probably be around here, but we want to keep it back to the original. That's the idea. And so, I mean, right here, we still were increasing very well, basically at the same rate, and then fell a little on this day, which was fine. Over here, you have NASDAQ. So NASDAQ has been really the worst one yet. We're outperforming by a lot now. There's a big gap, so I'm not worried about underperforming. My idea now is just to keep on going with the 60/40. We got 2 more weeks around there to our reset, and then just keep on going with the 60/40. See how high we end up, and hope we end around 10% would be really good after being down this much. So yeah, and if you take this whole gap out, right, which is when I started not doing the 60/40, when you go from here, our average is right now, I'll show it later, right now it's around 0.21, and our goal is 0.17. So I'm already really happy with that taking this whole thing out, right, if you just would have been neutral, it would be at 0.21% daily average, which is already above our goal. So NASDAQ did pretty bad this week, -2.5, and that let us also gain quite a bit, 8% this week, around 8.4, and then we outperformed 80% of the days this week. Overall, we're actually increasing, so now we're at 44.2 basically, and we're getting to 50% would be really good. We have 2 more weeks, so it's quite hard to do that, but I mean, staying in the 40% range is already quite good. And then overall, we're outperforming by a lot. So we're basically 9%. QQQ, you could say, is down -4. So that's 13% outperforming, which is a lot, which is very good. Over here we have the S&P 500. So basically it's not as bad. It hasn't fallen too much, but still on a slide, I would say. Over here it did -2.3% this week. And then we also increased this. So this is at 46. So my goal is to get this to around 50. 50 is a good goal around there. And then right now it's a -2. So this one we're not outperforming by as much, but still 11% outperforming is still a lot. I mean, 11% outperforming. I never thought we'd be here, bro. I didn't really think it would happen so quickly, right? So that's very good. Dow Jones right here. So Dow Jones is also a big gap. Negative 2.3% this week. Again, 4 to 5. And we also increasing this one by quite a bit, same as the Nasdaq, 44.2. And this one's really the highest one. The Dow Jones is the one that's least fallen, and this one is still basically we're outperforming by around 9.6%. So this is very good too, almost 10%. Um, and yeah, and since September, right, we've almost outperforming the S&P by around 30%. So that's really good. Over here we have the comparison to all. So basically, you have this dip over here, and then you back up here. You have Dow Jones, SPY, Nasdaq. I mean, there's a possibility that these two could fall to our low, which would be surprising, and we'd gain a lot. I mean, looking at this fall, something similar would have to happen again in 2 weeks, which I feel like is kind of unlikely. It could happen, but I don't know. I mean, we have a Fed meeting this week, but we'll see. Over here we have, so last week was 0.01 and we increased that by 0.2%, which is a lot. We're now above our goal, where 0.17 is our goal, and now we're 0.21, so that's very good. My idea is to, just keep on slowly going and see maybe in the next couple weeks we gain 4%, and then that could leave us at a clean 13% around there. But also, if it keeps on falling, we could also have another very good week, but I find that unlikely. Over here is also this 9 day streak, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This 9 day streak over here of really, because the only one that I held is each day I was resetting the trades, right? So I was closing them by the end of the day, or I was just closing them during the day and then going back in the next day. And so really each day I had to basically rethink, does it make sense to do this, right? And the probability of this happening 9 times in a row, which I haven't seen in a long time, I've never seen this, 9 times in a row, is around 1%. If we're assuming that having a profitable trade is 60%, which is quite generous, to be honest. If we're assuming that 60%, it's around 1%. You would do a binomial, the BPD, you would do that, the permutation one, and then basically you just really, it's 9 out of 9 here, because it was basically 9 trades, that each one was green, and they were also outperforming, which is also not into account. But the probability of that happening is around 1%. And so if you think my sample size right now in total days that I've had is around 141 days, and you would probably need, we're assuming it's a 12-day streak and it's 1%, so you would need 100 12-day streaks, which is around 1,000. It's 1,200 days, and we're only at 141 days. So I mean, for it to occur at this early is very rare. So I think it's kind of just proving that there's something that works behind this strategy that is able to catch these moments, earn a lot, and then in the meantime follow SPY and QQQ, which is what we did last trimester, last September through December. So that's what I mean. Over here you have each day, so each day was going very, very well. I mean, one day was 4%, which is a lot. Another day 3%, another day 2%, 1%. We had everything, and then here we had a -2, so that's fine. Kind of basically similar to Nasdaq loss on Thursday. Did I skip? No, okay. And then let's see. So our red to green. This is if we theoretically get a green day for 9 more days, we could. I think our green days would actually be above our red days, so that'd be quite good. I mean, right now the green days are a lot higher than the red, but I mean, considering we had so many red days, but yeah, I mean the red days also we don't lose as much, but we'll see. Profitable trades increased by 2%, and then this is our gain. So our gain decreased by a bit, but still holding at a very, very high 3.3, and then our loss barely increased. So here we have our standard deviation, which is also starting to decrease, which is very good. And then you have the S&P. So the S&P gained a little here, but then lost a lot more on the average. That's because of its losing streak. It's almost at -1% on a loss day, which is very high. Standard deviation also increased. And so this is when we have the ratios. The ratios are still doing quite well, outperforming by a 1 whole difference, which is very good. Our loss could be around -4.12 to be the same ratio as the S&P, and we're only around 2%. So we could basically double our loss and still have the same like you can win to gain ratio as the S&P, and then our gains could basically half, right? They could half and divide by two, and then we would still um, basically have the same win to loss ratio. Over here, so last week our difference, standard deviation was 365, and our difference was around 1. Right now we're still in the 0.9s, which is very good. And our standard deviation, the ratio decreased by a lot, 0.7. So I'm hoping this keeps on decreasing. Um, this is just needs to be positive or zero, right? And that's zero is very, very good. So if it's positive, it's even better. So this is very high. Um, at the moment, I'm not really worrying too much. Just hoping to get my standard deviation down with the 60/40 that we have. And then our transactions barely increased. And then day trades stayed similar, which is interesting. And then over here you have the overall. So the overall, basically we gained an 8.4% this week, which is quite a lot, which is a lot. We have 2 more weeks, I'm thinking, around end of April, and then I'll have like a 2 week break maybe around there, and then I'll go back. So yeah, I mean, last week we were already positive. This week we were outperforming everything by a lot. Right now, I think it's just don't do too much, just chill, and end it out. So hoping maybe in the next 2 weeks to get around 4% around there, that'd be quite good. I really don't know. It depends how everything moves, right? If everything crashes again, they'll probably earn a lot. Even if it goes up, it's harder to make money, but it's still it's harder to follow the trend, right? Because if it keeps on going up, um, I mean, I would probably just place a SPY buy on 60%. That would probably be my idea. On Friday, we did see a good 2% rally, which was really interesting because the consumer confidence came in at a new low. So, I mean, when the consumer confidence report came out, it did a quick drop and then it just recovered and kept on going up. So it kind of seems like the dumb Friday rally, same as last week. We could see that again on Monday. Could be a big red day. Could be. I don't know. Right now, we're all cash. So that's why I didn't want to hold my position last time. Even though I'm kind of confident Monday will be a red day, but I'm not too sure. I still wanted to, because we only lost around 2% that day, but overall we had an 8.9% this week, or 8.4. So like I'm not, I didn't really want to hold that into next week and then possibly lose another trading day because my money has to settle when I sell, and that takes one day. So it wasn't really worth holding over the weekend for me. And yeah, so see you next week. And we only got 2 more weeks. We're outperforming everything, which is very good, and this early on. And yeah, see you.